Hello, welcome to Warley Live Wednesday. So we've got 7 people watching, so welcome to the stream. We've got a very special guest joining me today, Carol from the Loco ladies. So I'll bring her in now. So, hello, Carol.
Hello, Andy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Pleased to be here. Nice to see you.
Absolutely, it's lovely to see you again. It doesn't seem that long ago with the virtual event, which was
Actually,
months ago, really.
Yeah, it was. Well, the virtual one was November, wasn't it? Time passes.
Absolutely, especially when you're at home all the time, it seems to fly by.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, true enough.
Gone really quick this year. Anyway, let's start where you started with Great Model Railway Challenge. That's the first time we come to meet you. It was on TV. How did you find it?
Oh, what, doing it or being part of it? I mean, to be honest, I'd only been modelling for about a year. You've got a little clip that I'm going to show you in a show about it later on, which is the timeline. And I was watching the Great Model Railway Challenge, the first one with my grandkids, and the oldest one said, "You could do that, Grandma." Yeah, so like an idiot, I sent my name and my mobile number through, and before I knew what I was doing, they asked me to put a female team together. So we worked out what we were going to do, and we stood in front of the cameras, and we built it in, 24 hours. Although, of course, that's not 24 hours in one go, thank goodness. That would have killed us. We did it over 2 and a bit days, really. So, but I have to say, we had a lot of fun doing it. It was physically very hard, and it was a bit of a challenge, really, because none of us were really particularly experienced railway modelers, but we were very enthusiastic and we didn't do too badly. So
it's a good experience, isn't it, really? It's something different.
Oh, well, look, come on. I mean, you get to my age in life and it's a bit of fun, quite honestly. And all we wanted to do was go and not make fools of ourselves, make something that worked and that people might like to see. Although, to be fair, we didn't expect to be invited to go to Warley. Warley was just like the icing on the cake, the cherry on the top of the icing.
We didn't know you were coming to Warley until Steve Flynn said, "By the way, I've invited the Loco ladies." And we're like, "Okay."
Well, what he actually said to us was, "It's nothing to do with me. I'll have to go and ask them."
But yeah, I can remember being told the Loco ladies have been invited.
All right, okay. Well, they left us in tenterhooks.
We both dropped Steve Flint's in it now, so
yeah, absolutely. But no, we were honestly chuffed to bits when he said we'd like to take it, because his view was that what we'd done was something that would attract children in particular, and also female modelers, because we'd done it and they were interested in seeing what we could do. Boy, were we inundated with people.
You were busy. I can remember every time we come to say hello, you were swamped with
yeah, we were pretty crowded. So it was good fun. It was good fun. We thoroughly enjoyed it.
And you raised some money for charity as well, didn't you? Because you were selling the trees.
Yeah, trees. I mean, Kathy Millett, who was one of the judges, that is the only thing I have with me to show you, is a couple of the crochet trees. Wrong way. Go to the right bit of camera, Carol. Kathy Millett did not like our crochet trees because she said they didn't look real. But then I'm not sure all the plastic trees we all buy and put on our layouts are really real, are they? No. But having said that, it clearly caught people's fancy. So we had a forest of these. I only kept a few. And very kindly, you all allowed us to sell them off at the end. So we sold all of them, bar 2 or 3. For breast cancer awareness, which is why we wore pink, by the way, because it wasn't just a sort of, oh, it's girls, they wear pink. We wanted to do this for a specific reason, and there were other things that we did that we raise money for, but probably these raised the most. I was stunned. People were quite happy to pay quite a decent price for them, actually. I think it was just a bit of fun and a bit different, really.
You did give one to Kathy, didn't you, in the end?
Oh, actually, well, we gave one to Steve. We gave one to Pat Doyle, who was the executive producer of the television, from the television company, and we gave one to Kathy. And we put them on a stand and we gave them a plaque and put them in nice boxes. And I mean, give Kathy her due. And by the way, I got on with her very well personally. It never really showed particularly because of the way they edit these things. And she was thrilled with it. She's told me now it's in front of her and she's doing her modelling and stuff. So hers was bright pink though, with glitter on it.
So very girly for Kathy.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we thought that would be more fun. We didn't do that to Steve, by the way, or Pat Doyle. They got sort of green, dark ones.
You don't know, Steve might have liked to get a bit of girly pink.
Well, he might have done, actually. He's pretty good for game for doing a lot of things, isn't he?
Absolutely. You can guarantee a laugh with Steve.
Absolutely.
So, coming forward, we worked again with you at our virtual event. So, thank you so much for the video. It was such a good video you produced for us.
Thank you.
You joined us again for a chat, didn't you, afterwards? Which was
yes, that's true. Yeah. Well, a chat during and a chat afterwards. Yeah, it was again good fun. Shame, much rather probably have preferred to have been there with people, talking to people. But it's nice to see all of you, and it was good fun to produce the videos. They've been an added and unexpected bonus for me in the last few months. I'd never done one. I'd never made one. Never before.
Whose idea was it for you to make a video and start producing YouTube videos?
Well, in the first instance, I mean, I'm on now week 44 of making videos for my grandchildren. And what I do, because my layout, although it's very big and full of scenery, which I love making, by the way, nevertheless was built for kids. And to keep them up to date with it, because obviously they couldn't come to the house during lockdown, still can't. What I did was I made them a weekly video. And initially they were those sort of things where you sit there going, because you don't know what you're doing. And I slowly worked out how to edit them and add sounds and do other things. And then it was Lawrence interviewed me for, when was it? I think it was last July's World of Railways, British Railway Modelling. And he said, why don't you do some for a YouTube channel? Why don't you do how I did it videos? And of course, I'm up for a challenge usually, so I did. And I've got quite a few of them now.
You know, showing to everyone else as well, so which is good. It's sharing skills, which is always a good thing, really.
Well, I'm an artist, and I know I do things a little bit differently than some people. So I'm quite happy to share it. And yeah, I mean, they're going to be on another virtual exhibition this coming weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the World of Railways, British Railway Modelling. And it's Saturday and Sunday, and they're doing it as a virtual exhibition. So they've got 3 of my videos as well.
So that'd be good. So do you know what times your videos are going out yet? Or is
no, I actually tried. I did try to track Phil Parker down to find out. He's uploaded them, but he hasn't given me times for them yet. They'll be spread out over the 2 days. That's because they did some of mine in the November exhibition as well. So they spread them out over the 3 days. And there are other practical demonstrations as well anyway.
That'd be good. So if you don't already know about it, check out the BRM virtual event this weekend, which will be the 13th, 14th of March? 13th
and 14th, yeah.
13th, 14th of March. So check that out. And I'm guessing through the BRM website.
Yeah, pretty well. World of Railways gets you it. World of Railways virtual event, British Railway Modelling, any of those will get you there eventually.
So again, it's just a good way to, we can't get to the show, so these are the next best thing, aren't they? Really?
Yeah. Well, they've certainly got a lot of layouts. Sorry, I am going to cough. They've got a lot of layouts. They've got, demonstrations. They've got practicals. They've got games for kids. I know they've been expanding what they do each time as they learn from it, as you would have found yourselves.
He was a big learning experience for us.
Yeah, of course it was.
We've never done it. We've done videos, YouTube videos before, but to try and do our normal show will get as close to a virtual show as possible. It was an eye opener. I'm touching wood and everything else. Hopefully, we'll have a show this year, so we don't have to.
What you're saying basically is you're hoping you don't have to do it again. Not that way.
Basically, yeah, definitely. Nigel can have the head honcho hat on for change.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. November, far enough away. Hopefully, you'll be okay.
We hope so. Definitely hope so. So you've also been busy with Steve at Warley Modeler, haven't you? Doing some articles and.
Yeah, Steve. Well, when I did the virtual exhibition with you in November, I did it based around a waterfall diorama that I'd made to take out to exhibitions, actually, because Loco is to. By the way, that's because of the layout anymore. We take that down, and we took it down because it was just too big. It was physically too big for us. So we'd done these diorama, and then Steve asked me to do a. Can you see it? I don't know if it's shining on it really. Anyway, so I've done a practical 3-page. I made the waterfall diorama. Because I've been carrying on with lots of modelling since, I've done the mountains around it now. And he's asked me to do another article based around how I made the mountains as well. But I haven't started that. He only just asked me to do that. So
is that the April edition of Warley Modeler?
That's the one that's just come out. I think it will have landed in most people's. There we go. Don't know if you can see. There we are. Oh, go that way. There we are. April. Yeah. They should have landed either in WH Smith's or wherever people buy it, and through the letterboxes, probably today or yesterday. So it's the most recent one. And he did us in pink. Look, he made us pink.
Pink again.
Yeah, can't avoid the pink.
Absolutely. So hopefully we'll see you a bit more then during the summer, then with some more articles later in the year.
Well, British Railway Modelling, because I've done these 3 videos. One is on how I made a tunnel. One is on how I made a ruined castle. And the other one is how I made a retaining wall. Well, once they've got the videos and once we discuss the videos, they've also asked me to write articles on those as well. So it's possible, actually, that one of them will appear in their next magazine. They haven't actually confirmed it, but I think it might be due. I think it's due out in the next week or 10 days. So it's possibly there's one in that as well. But I don't know for certain.
You're going to get lots of Carol then in the next few months.
Yeah, that's what my kids were saying, actually. Oh, for goodness sake, Mum, we can't escape you now. Well, they can. They don't need to look, do they?
Yeah. You've also been in the newspaper, haven't you? Having a bit of a rant.
Well, I've only written it down on a bit of paper, really. It was an odd thing to me because in January, towards the end of January, one of the leader writers in the Sunday Times wrote a leaders article. And it was all to do with the fact that Hornby is a big winner at the moment with the rise in sales of about 20%, which I think most of us know anyway, or knew. And we still don't really know whether those of us that are model railway people have been buying more, or this is new people or new entrants. May never know, of course. But the leader writer referred to it, and this got me actually, as an antiquated hobby. Now, you and I know we're all putting all sorts of technology onto these railways.
Absolutely.
So antiquated hobby didn't quite ring true for me. But what he said was, here we go, I'll read it. In garages, attics and spare bedrooms across the nation, generations of men for whom the word beaching is an expletive, have been upgrading their kit, adjusting their battered old driver's caps and looking and tooting imaginary whistles to their heart's content. Now, I thought that was a bit disparaging, really, and it was particularly annoying because they just assumed it was men that were involved. No mention of kids, you know, and I mean, there are a lot of kids, and certainly no mention of women.
Yeah, I can speak on behalf of Warley, and we've had a massive increase in our younger viewers coming to the show. As you saw last time at the show, was the amount of kids walking around was amazing. So the interest is there with the youngsters as well.
Absolutely, and I mean, Steve Flint sponsored us to do a competition for kids. Well, Pico did it; they gave a prize. And we kept running out of the application forms, you know, for people to fill them out. So yeah, of course and obviously my whole focus has always been doing this for my grandkids. But anyway, so what I actually did was I got hold of the complaints person at the Times and sent a message. And then, as it happens, it was a woman, and we went backwards and forwards a bit. But anyway, within about 5 days, there was a section which I nearly missed, actually. A friend of mine rang me up and said, Joss, she said, Carol, have you seen this thing in the Times? She said, I saw it, thought of you, and then realised it was you. So what it actually said was, our leader writer discussing the revived popularity of model railways walked straight into a man trap. You refer, wrote Carol Flavin, to generations of men in attics and spare bedrooms. We are not all men. I have a huge layout, Edghay and Strines Railway, which features regularly in exhibitions and magazines, and I was team leader of the Loco ladies, first female team to compete in Channel 5's Great Model Railway Challenge, and they finished off with Toot Toot. So there we go. So that was actually by way of apology, I think.
I think so, definitely, yeah. So
no, that was actually quite funny, to be honest.
I remember you sending me the picture when you first appeared, and you made me chuckle. To be fair, you're sticking up for female modellers everywhere.
Absolutely, but also to be fair to the men modelers, because antiquated hobby. Where did he get that from?
Yeah, it's just it's a perceived thing, isn't it? Really, that it's all old. You get a snapshot of people walking into the show, and you pick out what you want to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like that anymore. You got people like Rod Stewart and Jules Holland, and celebrities now jumping on the bandwagon and coming out that they are
and have been for quite a long time. Let's be honest. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
well, why not? I mean, I suppose it depends what type of railway you decide to model. I mean, I model an imaginary layout, which actually gives me a huge amount of scope, of course, for what I want to put on it. But even if you're modeling a specific place and a specific time, there's a lot of skills involved in doing this, and a lot of focus the lockdown's been a really good time to do it. Because I think a lot of people have had more time than they might have done, or not gone off and done the usual things they'd be doing. You can use your imagination, you can use your craft skills, your abilities, all sorts of mechanical and electrical things. And it's great. It's fun. It's fun, and it's great, particularly for kids.
For me, it's a great distraction from being on here on the computer. Being on a computer screen all day at Zoom meetings or team meetings or whatever it is, it's just a way to get away and disappear into my own little world. And
absolutely, yeah.
I start off in the morning. Now I'll do an hour, and then next thing you know, it's my stomach's rumbling. It's lunchtime, and well, occasionally my husband says, he feels like a spare part nowadays.
Just a bit, and it's a long way up the stairs because I'm up. This is my workshop where I'm sitting, and I'm modelling on the top floor of a Victorian house. So it's a bit of a hike for him to come and find me.
At least you know where you are. You're not far
Well,
away.
actually, I'm not at the house, am I? I can't go very far, apart from when I'm walking the dog. So
does your husband take part and have a go, or does he just leave it to you?
Well, I mean, putting it bluntly.
Sorry, my phone.
Oops. And your other phone's going now.
Oh, that's the one in the living room. I can't turn that one off. But...
All right. To be fair, David has some issues. He's got Parkinson's. So the thing about railways is, yes, he's got locos. Yes, he likes to drive locos on the layout. But the small stuff, even just putting track together is something he can't do, or he finds very difficult. But he was the one that took the grandkids off to all the model railway shows with his friends and my brother and stuff. And he's the one who got them interested, but it was me that ended up saying, right, I'll do it with you. And they couldn't do it themselves because they were, well, the ones that were mainly interested, I mean, I have several grandchildren and they're all keen. The ones that were the most keen at that point, they were in the process of moving and renovating a house, didn't know where to do it. So we started off here. Actually, this might be the time to show that first video that I did for you if you want to.
Shall we show the video?
Yeah, because it shows the timeline of my working with model railways and kids.
Okay, so we'll show the video now.
Yep.
Within a year, we'd totally outgrown the trestle table on the landing, and I persuaded my husband that it was a good idea to build a much larger layout in the corner of one of our bedrooms. Fortunately, it's a bedroom with a wooden floor. And this is 12 months later, with the layout started and largely designed on the baseboard that we made. In the October of 2018, we were watching the Great Model Railway Challenge, and Joshua, my grandson, turned to me and said, "Grandma, you could do that." And before I knew what was happening, really, Knickerbocker Glory, the company that organised it all, were in contact with me and asked me to set up the first female team. So I did, and we called ourselves the Loco Ladies. Now, as far as I recollect, this little video I'm just showing you now, which was Edge Hay and Strines in its iteration of the L shape in the corner of the bedroom, was the one that I actually sent to them, and they must have captured their interest, I think. Anyway, we were catapulted into a different world. By the March, the television cameras were in my home, which was a bit of a shock to the system, really, and not something I ever anticipated would happen. And by the June, we were at Forley Hill recording. That was Steve Flint. These are the presenters. This is a picture of Bucolic Britain, the layout that we made in 24 hours. And this is us presenting our layout. This is the Loco Ladies, and we didn't win our heat. We then withdrew because there was some concerns about a health issue with one of our team. And Steve Flint very kindly asked us if we would like to take our layout to the Warley show at the NEC in the November. And of course, we jumped at the chance. The programme that we were in aired in the September, and in the October, Railway Modeller came to my house and photographed Edge Hay and Strines, as it was then. And there was a picture of two of my grandchildren that appeared in the magazine as well. In the November, we took Bucolic Britain to the Warley show at the NEC. And the Loco Ladies had an absolute ball. We had the most amazing time. We had a lot of people came to see us. We had a lot of visitors. We had lots and lots and lots of people to talk to. And it was just absolutely great. Steve Flint, we gave him a crochet tree as a gift with a plaque. That's some of us talking to some of them, more of us talking to even more people. And then right at the end, Jill made a cake, and that's Steve cutting it. In the January of 2020, I wore my poor husband down and persuaded him that we needed to expand the layout to fit the whole room, and it became an enormous square. In the February, Chrissy and I took some items to demonstrate to Doncaster, fully expecting that we would do this a few more times during the course of the year. Of course, as we all know, by March, we were faced with the pandemic and lockdown. So that was the one and only time at that point we went out to do demonstrations. This is the original design for my layout. That was then, and this is now. And I suppose what I can say about it is that I consider myself very lucky. I have become completely absorbed and involved in creating this layout. My grandchildren haven't been able to come, so I have been doing it for them, and I've been doing them weekly update videos to tell them where I am, and other people have been interested in what I'm doing, and I've done videos, I've done some more articles, I've done interviews, and I am still working on it, although it is nearly finished. And I can't wait for the kids to come and see it and see what I've done for them.
That was a brilliant video, Carol. Thanks for sharing that.
That's okay. Because you can't walk around with this live streaming and show things, I thought the easiest thing was just to put a few things together. There is another video, which I think you're going to want to show in a little while, which is my actual layout, a bit more detail about the layout, that's all. And also some of the videos that I'm going to be doing. But you see, it was an interesting thing to focus on that, because I literally started on the landing where my workshop is now with a trestle table, and that was 4 years ago, almost to the day. And I have learned quite a lot, as you can imagine, in that time, never previously having put two bits of track together.
It's scary how far you come in such a short time.
Well, it is if you become, David would say obsessed. That's probably not fair, but certainly focused. And if you think you might do something and you don't know how to do it, there's plenty of places to go and find out.
Absolutely. I find YouTube is so I've learned so much from watching other people on YouTube. It's unreal, really. It's such a great community to be a part of as well, because everyone's quite happy to share skills.
I mean, I personally have never joined a model railway club. When I could have done it, probably wasn't really my cup of tea. And I just found individuals particularly helpful. I mean, interestingly, the most helpful at the beginning for me was my local railway shop. As the chap who runs it spent a lot of time with me, actually showing me how to do things. And I think he's still quite chuffed to know what I've been doing ever since.
Do you want to give your local shop a mention by name where he is?
I will do. Yeah, it's the man who runs it's called David, and it is 2K Technologies. It's in Hipperholm, which is near to Halifax in West Yorkshire. And it's still functioning. I mean, it's not open as such, obviously, because most of these model railway shops aren't big enough for lots of crowds, are they?
That's it.
They're just crammed with things. But you can call round, and I often call round just to see him, actually, if I need something.
Yeah.
But they do a lot of online stuff.
I'm quite lucky with obviously living in Birmingham. I've got a model shop that's about a mile from me in King's Standing.
That helps. Yeah.
I just all I do is pick up the phone and say, have you got this in stock? It'll check for me, and then 10 minutes later I can drive up when I'm doing my supermarket run and
just call and get it.
A bag thrown through the open door. And he has what he calls his virus window,
which is a sheet of polystyrene, a sheet of not plastic, plastic, clear plastic, and then a huge letterbox, and he opens the letterbox, shoves things through it.
But it works.
Of course it does.
It's still supporting your local economy and local people. Along with the the big box movers as well. It's nice to support your local.
I mean, you find things from different sources. I personally, because I'm retired and I was doing it with the kids, bought a lot secondhand. Still do, and modify things often. eBay obviously is useful, and I used to love going to the secondhand stores at the exhibitions too. It's surprising what you can find and at a decent price.
Absolutely. Well, I picked up a wagon for 50p or 60p, and you can bring it home. You can weather it. You can practice repaints and resprays, and it's a good way to have a go. And if you make a mess, it's 50p or 60p, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah, it's not. It's no great loss, is it? I mean, I do build things. Of course, I build things and so on. But I do quite like sometimes just getting something and thinking that will go there. It's perfect. I just need to do a few things to it, So yeah, it's been a mixture. Some new, some old, some secondhand, some given. People give me stuff all the time. Even people on eBay and stuff, funnily enough, when they realise it's for the grandkids, they'll often throw extra things in.
It's because you're famous now, Carol, that's it.
Or because I plead.
Your celebrity status.
Yeah, well, I mean, a friend of mine this morning sent me a message and said, one thing we can be sure of, Carol, is you're not going to let this go to your head.
Well, we're still laughing and having fun, which is the main thing. It is as it is. It has been fun and it's been quite nice, and it's lovely to meet people. And I do find that I meet people a lot who say, "Oh, I've seen you before somewhere." But obviously, particularly at model railway shows. But and you do a lot of photographs with children. That's good though.
That's one of the Loco ladies. Let's go and talk to
her. Talking about meeting people, we've sent you an invite for the if it takes place, the 2021 show. So
yes,
hopefully going to see you in November.
Well, we it came to me obviously, but obviously it's aimed at the Loco ladies, and 3 of us plan to come to do demonstrations. I have to say, if there's 3 of you, and in actual fact, Alex will come too, but as a visitor, and she'll help man it if we need her to. That means you can get off the demonstration table and go and look at things. Because truthfully, when we came to Warley in the November that time, I never left. I never got a chance to look round. But Karina has some items that she's going to bring. She's been doing quite a lot of modelling in Engage. And she's got a harbour, I think, that she's planning on bringing with a train, a Loco going up and down. And Chrissy has a number of things. In fact, I'm not actually exactly sure what she's planning on bringing because she hasn't decided yet. But so we've all got stuff, and we've been talking about this earlier on.
Absolutely.
I have a castle. I have a ruined castle, which is one of my videos at the World of Railways exhibition, virtual exhibition, and also going to be an article. But it is quite portable, and I'm going to probably take that. But the one I'm really excited about doing, but I haven't started yet, because it's going to be a bit of a challenge to do it, is what we were talking about, which is Magna Rail.
Absolutely, it is a challenge.
Yeah, I know, you're putting me off actually starting it.
I had a go, and I'm still having a go, and I was hoping to show it today, but it was working earlier, and now it stopped working because of the chains unhooked itself. But I think it's just a case of tweaking it. I've got quite a long one. I've got the basic set, and I've added extra packs to it, and I think I need an extra motor to give it a bit more oomph, if you know what I mean. It's just a case. I've had it since February, and I just install it in small stages, and it's just working on it and getting it right. And I think once it's right, it'll be fine. But you've got to get it right. But that's
Well,
what we're both
I'm
doing, so just
just behind you, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the one I plan to do, you see, you're going for vehicles. And I mean, I do know the vehicles are a bit more of a challenge simply because the wheels don't turn. If you're driving them, you turn the wheels, wouldn't you? But I'm going for cyclists, and I'm going to put mine running in and out of village houses in a little village. But I haven't properly designed it yet, and I certainly haven't started to put any of the track down because I haven't finished my layout yet. I've been working on creating the water for a harbour. I was still doing it last night, actually. So yeah, I've a bit to go yet, but that will be the big next challenge, I think, is trying to get that working. But if it works and if it looks nice, I'm doing it on a lift up section, which is a pop-up hole in my layout. So it will live on the layout, but I'm hoping to be able to lift it out and take it to exhibitions so I can show people. And at the speed I'm doing it at the moment, it'll be Warley in November.
Jason said, so will we see Carol cycling around Warley in 21?
I don't think my balance isn't much nowadays. Cycling around Warley, don't think so. But I do. One of the reasons why I'm thinking of cyclists, I have one of my grandchildren is a champion cyclist. He's only 11, 12, but he's I think he's been British champion 3 times now. So there's an involvement with cycling, which mostly seems to involves standing around in the mud watching him doing cyclocross in the rain, in the cold. But of course they're not doing it. Yeah, they're not doing it yet, but I think they're starting in the next month or so. The cycle races will be starting up again. But yeah, so no, I won't be cycling. Sorry, Jason.
So talking about your modelling now, what you're up to. So what you mentioned a harbour and a castle. Well,
I mean, I've done another. It's a shorter video this time. Sorry. Basically, I've tried to incorporate pretty well anything. There's big mountains. There's hills. There's a river. There's villages. There's a factory. There's a higher track and a lower level track, and there is a harbour, a dock, which is where the river runs to. And it's the dock that I'm working on at the moment. Now, anybody who saw the Great Model Railway Challenge will know that we did a dock or a harbour, and we poured water, which proceeded to come off the board and fall onto the floor, which was slightly unfortunate because we'd managed to miss a little tiny bit where we hadn't sealed it properly. And that was enough to put me off. So I don't pour water anymore. I actually paint my water with something called structure gel. Being an artist, this is an acrylic thing. Structure gel and heavy structure gel, and I have found I can get a really, really, really good effect with it. Very realistic effect.
You should try pouring the water again, though, because without the constraints of the show and the speed.
Oh, it would have worked, but actually, I made a lake quite early on. It's one of my videos on the YouTube channel, and realised that you could get a heck of a good effect doing it the way I do it. And actually, I'm quite happy doing it the way I do.
Okay.
So yes, I could pour it. In fact, I've got some kicking around in a box somewhere, but I've opted not to. In fact, that's as soon as I can see her again, that's going to go over to Chrissy actually, because she's doing a Scottish Highlands Railway, and she's got quite a lot of water on it, so she can have it, and she can pour it if she wants to.
So, will we see Karina and Christina on videos in the future, or are they just doing it for themselves? Or
neither of them were hugely confident in front of the cameras. That doesn't mean to say they can't be and won't be, but at the moment I don't think so. But you know, who knows? I mean, at the moment I'm doing it, but I shan't do this forever, shall I? So maybe they'll sort of step in and start doing some different ones. They're both I mean, Karina is waiting for a garden building to be able to put her layout in. So it's partly done and she can't really move any further till it's in it. And Chris's is up in her attic. But Chris is really a gardener, you know. She's got the most gorgeous garden. And even though the weather's awful, she's out in that at the moment. So who knows? But they're both very skilled. There'll be a lot from them as time goes on.
Dave is asking, do you have a YouTube channel, and what's your YouTube channel called?
Yes, I do. It's called Model Railway Scenics with Carol Flavin. And it's reasonably easy to find, I think. In fact, to be honest, the only other Carol Flavin, if you put the name in on Google, is an American rock and roll singer. That's not me, trust me. Because when you said it was, yeah, absolutely. And when you said it was your birthday tomorrow, I did assure you I wouldn't sing to you, and you wouldn't have wanted me to.
Oh dear. So, should we show the other video with?
Yeah, if you'd like to. Yeah, can you show it from the beginning? Because we missed a little bit on the other one.
We missed a tiny bit in the first one. I've just moved it to the start.
Carol Flavin, and this is a short update on my layout, which is Edgehay and Strines. I designed Edgehay and Strines Railway to have plenty of track on it because this layout is designed for kids to drive trains on it. The scenery has been my great pleasure and my great joy, but they of course want to drive trains. So I have a higher level track that goes round on a viaduct, over arches, on a retaining wall, through tunnels, because of course kids love tunnels, over a big bridge. And then there is the lower level track that winds itself around. I'm going to take you on a short journey round the layout. In that corner there is a viaduct, and that's all to do with the higher level track, but there is lower level track going there as well. There's a factory or manufacturing area. In the background there is my daughter and son-in-law's wine merchant shop in an arch. I've got various other things here at height. I've got a castle and I have a church. Lower down there is the track, which as you can see isn't fully ballasted yet and isn't in fact functioning because I'm working at the moment on a dock area and I'm still laying water on it, so I'm not running the trains. That's Edgehay Village. This is a farm area. We're coming round to where the castle is on the top of the mountains via some tunnels and some edges of the mountains. On the top there's a windmill, and I eventually will make that motorised. There's a waterfall diorama, some water. That's the river running off from it. A little hamlet of houses there. And it goes across so that you can just see the area of the dock that I'm working on at the moment. That's not finished. There's another village here which I have still yet to sort out properly. And as we go around the corner, there is a higher level station and a little cafe. This is underneath, looking back towards that village I just mentioned. And this is the dock that I'm working on. I'm really pleased with this, but the water, understandably, has been a bit tricky. And if you look closely, you can see that there is no track on that bridge at the moment. And then we move round to the tunnel and just go back up to the mountain top. I have a YouTube channel which is called Model Railway Scenics with Carol Flavin. And there are a number of videos on that already, but I'm going to be putting some more up next week after they've been shown on the World of Railways BRM Virtual Model Railway Exhibition, which is showing this weekend. And I have 3. I have one on a castle, one on a retaining wall, and one on tunnels. And they're how I did it videos. I do rather like quirkiness, and I'm going to finish with this little man diving into one of my water pools.
That's brilliant, Carol. There's so much detail there, and so much. It's so busy, and there's so much going on. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you. I mean, as I say, that's the side of it that I enjoy. I mean, I do like to run the trains, by the way. And people ask me when I'm going to run them. Well, as soon as I'm ready to, really. I've had to take bits of track off and take things out the way because I'm working on it. I mean, that bridge where the dock isn't usually on there. I only put it on so you can see what it would look like. So obviously there's no track running over that, for instance, but you know, it's coming. It's not far off. And certainly by the time my grandkids can come, there'll be plenty for them to do, and trains will be running again by then. So yeah, I love it. I love the detail. It is that quirky side of it. I love to put detail in there so that if people are walking around, they go, oh, goodness me, can you see that? Have you seen that? And that's what we aimed for when we did Bucolic Britain as well. Catch people's interest.
For me, a good model railway is a railway that you go and look at the first time and you think that looks good, but when you go back a second and third time, you spot something new every time you go back and look at it.
Are you right? Really, absolutely.
You know, it really draws your attention.
Yeah. And I mean, we will none of us, well, certainly not at the moment, unless Karina takes her bigger layout eventually. None of us are likely to be doing full layouts at exhibitions. You know, it's a challenge, as you know, taking large items and unpacking them and getting them in place and making them work properly. We know that from doing Warley. So we are likely to do demonstrations. And truthfully, I'm going to be doing videos because that's a means and a way for me to show people what I do.
Absolutely. So. It's definitely a challenge. Definitely a challenge. I've only done an exhibition layout once at the club, at the show, and it is hard work getting it there and setting it up, and especially when you come to take it apart on the Sunday, there's quite a lot of pressure to get it done and taken apart and get out the hall. So yeah, it isn't easy.
No, I mean, when we left the Forley Hill, when we done the Great Model Railway Challenge, I mean, literally everything was just chucked on top of the layout and it was picked up and shoved in a van. Of course, which in theory was okay, but in practice, we then had to put it somewhere and sort it all out to be able to bring it to Warley.
Absolutely. When you built it, was it built in a modular form so you could take it apart, or was it just built for the competition and then you had to make it modular after the event?
To be able to carry it, it was 3 pieces of baseboard because it was 10 foot long by 5 foot. So yes, in a way it was modular, and yes, we definitely created it in such a way it could come apart. But you learn the hard way that it doesn't always work as easily as you think it's going to. And it got taken, when we took it apart after Warley, we knew that it was never going to go back together again as it was. So yeah, it's a big challenge for people. I mean, it wasn't one we were prepared to step up to, again, to be honest. But we're not a model railway club. You know, a 10 foot by 5 foot baseboard, you can sit in your dining room only for so long. But it was it was part of the time at my house, and then it went to Chris's, you know. But we had fun.
We had a question earlier. Would you go back on the Great Model Railway Challenge if they did a rerun and you got invited again? Would you take part?
No. The only reason I say no is because physically it's extremely tiring. More tiring than we anticipated, and we thought we'd trained ourselves up for it. Also, somebody else should. You know, they have obviously it had other railway modellers on it that were female, and the obvious one that springs to mind is Jenny Kirk. And you know, maybe she wasn't the team leader, maybe she'd go as a team leader, who knows. But it was, and they did expect a lot from us. I mean, we had to design all the heat layouts and the final layout, even though we never built them. design them and buy everything for them, or rather write the purchase lists for them. That took a lot of doing. I would want them to invite me back to go and watch it. Because we got invited back to go and see the final, which was very kind of them. Oh, and that was good fun, because we stood there going, oh, thank goodness we didn't have to do that.
We've been mentioned about going on as a club, but it's a time commitment that I think I know I'd like to have a go because it'd be a bit of fun, but I don't know about the time commitments.
It was from the day that they asked me to put the female team together to the day that we went to Warley Hill. I reckon I effectively did, perhaps not a full-time job, but certainly a three-quarter-time job. Just keeping up with everything they asked from us, everything expected of us. And of course, we had to do some build and some preparation as well. And none of us live near each other, apart from Jill. Jill lives around the corner, the lady who makes the cakes, the one you didn't get any of.
I missed out on the cake.
But we don't live near each other either. So it was a challenge. It was certainly fun, and I'm so glad we did it. Would we do it again? No, we wouldn't. Would we encourage other people to do it? Very, very definitely. We got a lot from it. And I know a lot of the other teams did as well.
And that's the main thing. You know, you can look back and smile, and you know you had a go and you took part and you enjoyed it.
Absolutely, yeah. And no regrets at all about it. It was hugely good fun, but it was hard. But I'm not sure. I mean, Steve was talking about this. Steve Flint was talking about this other week. He did a lecture for the Model Railway Club in London, and he was saying that you know there is no evidence at the moment that it will be picked up again, but who knows?
You never say never, do you? Really? So we never know. It might happen. It might not. It's one of those things. I'd hope it happens again. Yeah.
I would too. Yeah.
Once we come out of lockdown, it'd be nice to see it go back on TV again, because
it is
good
for the
hobby. It's been it's popular, and it's bringing the hobby to the mainstream.
Absolutely, and because they added those little bits of challenge in it as well, which I know a lot of people didn't like, but it did show that you can be very imaginative and very creative in what you do. So yeah, it was good. It was good. I'm glad I did it. Absolutely no regret at all about it. But standing on your feet for all those hours, bit of a challenge.
So, what time did you start in the morning, and what time did you sort of finish?
Oh, well, they filmed us for 8, 12, 24. Officially, they were filming us for 3 days of 8 days, but it didn't work like that. We did 2 12-hour days, I think, and then the final day, because, of course, the judges had to go off and make their decisions, and then it had to be all filmed, the last bit. But they also gave you a little bit of time at the beginning and at the end to just do things off camera. Not because you needed to do them off camera, more because you just wanted to get stuff finished.
Yeah.
And eventually they kicked you out and said, go home, go and get something to eat. They looked after us very well. We were well fed, we were well watered. They were the teams that were doing the television people were lovely. But it was long days. 10 hours, 10 hours, 10 hours, and 2. Oh, I can't remember now. It's a long time ago. But they were long days, too long in some ways. But yeah, it's good.
Do we want to show the third video, or do you want to?
Honestly, it's up to you. I mean, it's just a short piece because I intended to have with me here the castle, because that is going to be a diorama. I was going to have it with me, but unfortunately I'd completely forgotten when I spoke to you yesterday that I've wired it up. It's got lights on it, and it's wired up to a castle, and it's wired up to the factory, so I couldn't lift it off, not without messing around. So I did attach that little bit of a picture. Yeah, if you want to put that on. It's only, I think, a minute long, so it's not really long.
We'll quickly show the video. We have got a quick question for you. Z Fantasy Train said, love seeing the ladies, look fun, and I want a ladies club.
Well, again, a ladies club would be fine, but I'm not sure how easy it would be to do it unless you did it virtually. because obviously, well, look at my team, you know, all the way down south, all the way up north. We were spread around. And you know, in the first instance, I think people might be a little bit further away from each other. It's not something I've thought of doing. It may be one day when I surface, really, from all of the modelling that I'm doing.
Absolutely.
But I'm sure, I think you're right, though. I think it would probably be well received.
You can have Kathy as your I don't know. I'm trying to think of an appropriate name for her. As your leader.
Yeah, well, if Kathy wants to do it, I'm probably more than happy to back her up. As I say, Kathy and I got on well. She just didn't seem to be wildly enthusiastic about us on the television. But of course, they take loads and loads and loads, and a lot of it just falls on the cutting floor. So.
Right, I'm going to run this video.
Okay. Am I still mic, Andy?
Yeah, you still talk. You can still talk.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't put a voiceover on this one. Basically, I really, really wanted to do a ruined castle. Well, I had one already that I'd already placed above the waterfall diorama. So this one was one that I decided to do as an opposing castle on the other side of the layout. And it sits on like a plateau, really. And at the moment, I've got it next to a church. But that's another diorama. And actually, my grandkids and I talked about making a tournament scene to put next to it, which I think would be good fun, actually. You know, with lights and so on. Possibly even trying to not automate it, that's the wrong word. Mechanise it, if you like. But that's for the future. And by the way, you probably saw, I know it's finished now, I did take the chance to put a few of the trees around that castle. I wanted somewhere to put them.
The castle is so nice. It looks very, very good.
Thank you.
I think you should make a castle for my layout.
Yeah, well, watch my video and you'll find out how to do it. Because it's not actually as difficult as it might look.
I would definitely be watching. I'm really looking forward to that. How long have we got you for, Carol? Because I know we've only got you for a short time today.
Yeah, I probably need to be going in the next few minutes, actually.
Okay. Well, if there's any quick questions for Carol, please put them in the chat. But it's been lovely having you on the stream today. It's been really nice to see you again. And
well, thank you.
Hopefully, in 6 months' time, we'll be at the show and we'll be able to have a proper
honestly, going to the show would be absolutely brilliant. Yeah, and we definitely need tea and cake. The two are longer videos that I put on. I don't know if they were crackly for other people. Where I am, I was hearing a fair bit of crackle on them, so I will look at them again. I will put those up on my YouTube channel in the next few days, probably over the weekend, actually.
Would you be happy for me to put them onto the Warley channel as well? So
yeah,
I can put them as separate videos on the Warley channel if you're happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, I will put them as public sometime, but I just would do a little bit of tweaking to them. But you can use them, of course you can.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you, Carol. Well, I'll see if there's any more questions before you go. Ollie loves your castle. He said he's big heart.
Yeah, that's nice.
David Cook has subscribed to you already. He's just after seen your video.
That's nice.
Fred said good details adds realism to the layout. And Z just said nice seeing you, Carol. Look forward to seeing you in your videos. So,
well, that's nice. Good. Thank you.
So,
well, my next bit of fun is I'm doing a lot of lighting now. Possibly when you saw the video there, you can see some street lights. They're in place, but I probably this morning, if I'd been preparing to see you, I would have been doing some of the wiring for those. But I do like lights on layouts. Oops, my earring. Sound thing's fallen out. That's because I was fiddling. Yeah, I do like lights on layouts, I must admit. I think they make quite a difference. And that castle looks really good at night. It's quite spooky, actually. And there's some pictures of that in the video that I'm going out at the weekend. So
You have to
Anyway.
make a Hogwarts. You have to make a Hogwarts castle for Hornby.
Oh, I don't think so. Other people did that.
You never
No,
know.
I will admit that when I was doing the castle, which was a few weeks ago, that it was the what was it called? I'm a Celebrity, Get Out of Here, when it was in that Welsh castle, which looked stunning when they showed the shots of it. So a little bit in my head was thinking, oh, I'm going to do something a bit like that.
I've gone past Corfe Castle, and that's another one that's quite next to a railway station. I think that would look quite nice on a On a.
I wasn't modelling anything in specific, of course I wasn't, but I just wanted to add a bit of character to it, really, and a bit of fun. So
Absolutely, but I'll be watching your video with great interest. So I think if you finish now, Carol.
yeah, okay.
I'm going to carry on the stream for a bit because we've got another guest who's a club member who wants to come and say hello.
That's all right.
So lovely to talk to you, Carol. Thanks for joining the stream. Thanks for what you did for the virtual event, and we look forward to seeing you in November.
Okay, it's been lovely to see you. You take care of yourself. Bye.
Take care. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, that was lovely. Thanks to Carol for coming on. Really appreciate her spending time with us. And I've got the club treasurer to come on and say hello, say a few words. So I'm going to bring in Mr. John Hall. Hello, John.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. And you, Andy?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. We see each other quite a lot on Zoom meetings, but this is the first time on StreamYard we brought you in.
It's the first time I've ever done anything like this. Anyway, there's always a first time, so
absolutely
fire away.
So, what if modelling wise? What have you been up to during lockdown, or do you get time to do any modelling with all the treasury stuff you have to do, looking after the money?
Yes, I do. The treasury role comes in little dribs and drabs, and then a couple of days of extremely high activity, the end of the year and so forth. But I haven't, unfortunately, where I live, I haven't got room for a layout of my own, so I specialise in renovating old locos and detailing them, most of which I buy on eBay. I look out for them very carefully and spot bargains and get them and then do them up, either mechanically if there's something not quite right, or and add detail, that sort of thing. You know, I'm a Southern fan, actually, despite the fact I'm a Lancastrian. I'm a Southern fan and have been so for the last 50 odd years. But I have lots of interest. I like continental and American steam as well, and all the other British. But yes, yeah, I do. Yeah. And go on. Any next question?
It must be quite satisfying to get, pick up a loco that doesn't work or advertise as non-runner, get it a bit cheaper, and make it good. It must.
Yeah, it is. I must admit, I am very careful. I much prefer it if they are working. And what I might do is I might improve. I might put a new motor in, for instance, or a new magnet. I've done up a couple of kits as well, kit-built locos, but they tend to be a lot more problematic. They're very fragile, and they can look all right and run all right for a little while, and then they can break down again. Mainly valve gears, the main issue, the most delicate bit and the hardest thing to get right. But in the end, I get there. Hornby Double-O, the old Hornby Double-O, I've done quite a few locos up. But with them, you reach a point where you yourself are not qualified to do it. It may be, for instance, the armature wants a rewind, or one or two other things. And I have sent them away. There's a firm called Scale Speed, which I heartily recommend. If you've got any old Hornby double locos, or even trying or Lima, they're not working properly, if you send them to this gentleman in Fairham on Scale Speed, very good indeed, and highly recommend that.
Okay, so one of your roles is looking after new members and new members' applications when they arrive at the club. So they're either forwarded, sometimes they come through me and I forward them to you, but sometimes come direct to you. What do you go through the process of joining the club? So if anyone wants to join,
yeah, and I think this is an excellent opportunity, and that's hence why I swatted up before I came on air. We have basically 4 classes of member. First of all, there's the full-time member, full members, and that allows you access to the club on members' evenings, which are most nights of the week actually, and also access to our library and all our facilities. You're able to vote, etc. But we also recognise, it's not just for people who adults or adult men particularly. We have a student section who have their own layout, and they are for members aged 12 to 18. And if you are full-time education up to the age of 25, you can still pay student rates as though you were younger than that. But we also have members who don't live locally. By locally, I mean the wider West Midlands conurbation. We've got members full-time members as far north as Shropshire and down into Warwickshire and all around the West Midlands, as well as Birmingham. Very, very few of our members actually live in Warley itself. And in recognition of that, we've got another 2 classes of membership, of which the next one is if you live over 50 miles away, you can apply for what is known as out-of-town membership. And that has all the advantages of full membership, but it recognises you're not able to come to the club week, say, or whenever you'd like to choose because of distance. And in that case, we charge you roughly half the full rate, and you have voting rights, and you can stand to be an officer or a member of the committee. And last of all, which I think would be of interest to a lot of people in the UK who don't live locally, have what is known as associate membership, who roughly pay a quarter of the fee. They don't have voting rights, and they can only attend up to a maximum of 6 visits a year. The club rooms, of which, as you know, are very extensive. We've probably got some of, if not the best club room facilities in the UK, including a library with nearly 3,000 books in, railway books, some 1 or 2 on canals and obscure French navigation, a bit like that. And we've got a room completely chock full of magazines. Model railway constructor going back to the time of Julius Caesar, for instance, and that sort of thing. A real library of old magazines. I like to go back and look at the reviews of models that were introduced in the 1960s and 70s if I'm about to buy one to do it. Yeah. But the key thing, I would say for all members, all classes of membership, is it does allow you free attendance at our annual exhibition at the NEC. Now, don't get me wrong, you are expected to do a little bit of work. We do have nearly all our out-of-town and associate members do come for that, and indeed they help us. They help us an awful lot, and we're very grateful. So even if you can't come to the club very often, I would urge people to consider out of town or associate membership, because you get free entrance to the annual exhibition, which is, as you know, really worth having. It's
Absolutely, and it's not just that.
Not the cheapest of days.
It's also the fact, you know, if you do a job, you're only doing it for a couple of hours during the day. You know, when you put your name in the hat and say, "Can I help out with a job?" You only do it for a short period, and we also give you a lunch as well. If you
yes, we do. You get bags of time to wander around and, you know, buy that Loco, find out the cheapest store that's got it, and whatever, and, you know, everything. But it's really, really good. I mean, we don't know, but we are pretty sure, as well as the best, it's the biggest show in the UK, and it may even be the biggest show in Europe, if not the wider world. We don't know that for a fact, but we do strongly suspect that we're on those lines.
When we got Marcus to come from Germany, we played some TV. He said it was the biggest show in Europe. He goes to quite a lot of shows in Europe. It's the highlight of his year for him to come to our show, which is
it's quite something, isn't it?
Absolutely,
it's very gratifying. And we do. I mean, we've got members in the States. You just remind me, we've got members in Germany. You know, the term Warley is in some ways rather misleading. It's a much wider organisation than that. And I must admit, I find it very, very exciting to be, well, a member and an officer of, you know, the UK's most prestigious model railway club. I feel greatly humbled by it, but at the same time, you know, very proud.
It's also a community as well. We've got quite good community spirit in the club, and we've made lots of friends through the hobby from being part of the club. You know, that the little yellow badge that we wear at the show means quite a lot to people.
It does, yes. There's a lot of social support for people. You know, you're quite right. It's a group of friends, and you know, people. Some people might not have a wide circle of friends, and it's a big focus for them, and they look forward to it. I mean, we can't wait really to get out of lockdown, and I know many people can't wait to get back.
Yeah, a bit of normality back again, I think. That's what we need.
Well, indeed. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
And we hope. I know Paul's hoping to be back in the club. Hopefully, starting to drift back in individual members next month, and then maybe the month after we'll be back to as a, you know, booking in like we did last summer.
Well, you know, we did. We had a restricted number of people could come in, but we were open 7 days a week. Was it 12 hours a day that people could book a slot? And as long as they maintained social distancing, you know, that was fine. I mean, anybody who is watching who does want to apply for membership, if you email, do you want to email you, Andy, or email me?
Yeah, I'm quite happy if you send me an email, secretary@warley-mrc.org.uk. You can do that, or if you know me on Facebook, send me a message on Facebook. You can send a message to the Warley. There you go. That one there. There you go. So Warley Facebook page. So just type in Warley into Facebook. You can send me a PM message, and I'll get the paperwork, the application form to you, and then I can circulate it through John, and we'll go from there. But you know, we'll take the application forms whenever the easiest way possible.
Yeah, and I send you back. I send you back a welcome letter on the club rules and ask you to pay, which isn't that much. we've got to actually reduce subscriptions this year because of COVID. So there's roughly 25% off this year. So it's an offer which probably won't be repeated next year. So if you want to take advantage, go for it.
Absolutely. And you don't have to pay all in one lump sum, do you, John? You can spread
No,
your payments.
absolutely. You can pay in monthly standing orders or quarterly standing orders. The only thing we ask is, at the moment, we prefer not to take cash. And if you could use bank transfer, we'd be very grateful if you could do that, because COVID, going to banks is not the easiest experience, is it? And certainly with cash, that's really difficult. I was just going to say something else.
Associate membership's only about £2 a month, though, isn't it? So it's not.
Well, I can give. I have a sheet in my left hand, which I can read out to you. Associate membership is £21 a year. Student membership is 33, and out of town is 42. If you want to become a full member, that's 81. I mean, if you apply, we'll tell you all this anyway. That is with this 25% discount, though. But please do. What was the only caveat? Another caveat to just say: if you want to be a student member, a parent or guardian does have to be an associate member and come with you to the club. That's our only condition. We have to do that because of safeguarding considerations. Yeah. I mean, although we're a club, in many ways, we're almost an unpaid business with unpaid employees, aren't we, Andy?
Absolutely.
What I mean? And we try and be as professional as possible. So we have safeguarding policies and ways. Heaven forbid, nothing has ever gone wrong. I can assure you of that. But we have policies and procedures in place to deal with that. As you would expect from any modern, forward-thinking organisation.
Absolutely. We've had a couple of new members join from. I know Mike and Matthew have joined. Two of my friends. So Mike got a chance.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
And young Matthew's joined, and I know young Matthew's quite keen to visit the club room at some point. But now live up in Manchester way. But if you want to get involved, come along, get in contact, and I'm sure we'll make you welcome.
Tuesdays and Wednesday nights are the most popular, particularly Tuesdays if you're a double O fan.
Wednesdays are okay. Generally, we've got.
It used to be some people say it's an old man's hobby. It isn't.
I'm not old.
No, of course, absolutely. And, we do want to encourage younger people as much as students and young adults, any age. But the hobby is booming. If you try and order stuff now, don't be surprised if you have to wait weeks. I was waiting for some nameplates for 6 weeks, and I'm still waiting for some transfers since last November. It just shows how popular the hobby is.
Jason's commented he loves being a club member.
So, good for Jason. Good for Jason. How much did we pay you to say that?
Oh dear.
So I'm only joking.
So what else do you do for the club apart from looking after the new members and the new member process?
And the money.
What is that like a full-time job looking after the money for the club, or is it?
No, as I said, I've done about a couple of hours this morning. What I tend to do is I update the accounts once a week. which takes me about 2 or 3 hours, and then we get high periods of activity at the year end, or when people's subs come due and you have to chase them. That's when it gets hard. I've got the year end coming up at the end of this month, and that might be a bit more work involved. But we're all computerized, you know. It's not a quill pen in a book job. It's we use Sage, highly recommended.
It is much easier now.
Yes, it is.
I couldn't imagine trying to manage the club a few years ago before the likes of Zoom and all the rest. No. I don't know how we'd be able to do the meetings.
No, well, we wouldn't. You can't say that COVID's come at the right time, but Zoom definitely came at the right time for COVID.
Absolutely. And your role is you look after the library in the club as well, don't you, Bob? You're part of the library.
I help with that, yes. Yeah, I do. It's, well, as I say, we've got about 3,000 books. We certainly haven't got we have a catalogue, but we haven't got what you'd find in a lending library. We can put our hand on most things. We've got sections on all the big four and constituent companies, PR, a big section on railway modelling and all that sort of thing. I mean, if you're modelling, say, a particular loco and you want detail of it, almost certainly we'll have the information in our library. We really will. And we've got video, not videos, those are old-fashioned. We've got dozens and dozens of DVDs of various things, teasing, you know, everything, steam, diesel, electric, American, bit of continental, how to railway model, you know, it's really good. And you can lend them to you, you can keep them for a month. If you don't send them back with the month, we send a boy around the basement.
That's how you keep Tom busy. Send Tom man to get the stuff back.
Yeah.
If you remember and you've got a question and you want to do some research, is there an email address people can contact the library to get information?
It's best if you send it to me. That's treasurer at warley-mrc.org.uk. If you have, I mean, really, we're not set up to do research for other people. It would be better if you could join and come and do the work yourself. Really, I would prefer that. But one or two limited queries would be all right.
But I suppose if someone was to make a small donation towards the cost, I'm sure we could you know, if possible, photocopy a page of a book and send the information to help.
I'll say a guarded yes.
I'll put you on the spot then. Sorry, John.
Yeah, you did you? Wait till afterwards. No, sorry.
Okay, so we've obviously got lots of books. We've got DVDs. We've got the magazines. And I know you've mentioned it, but I do like to go back through the magazines and look at price comparisons in the adverts, and look at Hornby Loco, Hornby Class 25 in 1970, 78, 79. Dated my one and compared to the prices nowadays, it is interesting reading.
It is. It's interesting now. I'm saying about the hobby booming. Since Christmas, the prices on eBay for second-hand stuff have left. I'd say they've gone up by about 25%, if not more. And it's harder to spot a bargain. But yeah, supply and demand. It's supply and demand. Simple as that. Yeah.
Okay, John. Well, it's been lovely talking to you.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
If anyone, like I say, if anyone's got any questions for John while he's on, pop them in the chat now. I'm not sure who we've got on next week yet. I'm still working on next week. Mike did send his apologies. Mike Wild from Hornby Magazine sent his apologies for this week. He was going to come on, but he's had a small crisis at with the magazine, so he's had to deal with that. Obviously, a priority to get the magazine out on time, but he has promised he will be on a later video at some point. I've got a list of contacts I'm going through, so I'm not going to say who they are until they officially announce and we've got a date. But we have got some more interesting people to bring on to the stream in the next few weeks. So for now, I think we're going to carry on with the lockdown live videos on a Wednesday, at least till when I start back at work, which hopefully will be sometime in April, when Mr. Johnson allows the shops to open again. So I might be back at work, but even so, we might still carry on. If it's popular and you guys are enjoying the videos, we'll carry on doing the live videos, and hopefully with a bit of luck, we'll be able to do one from the club room soon when we can open up again. That's our hope anyway. We are going to get Nigel on at some point, so once we've got some information about the show, hopefully we'll get Nigel onto a video and we'll have a look at Nigel's modelling, because Nigel is a very good O-gauge modeller. He does a lot of locos he builds for 82G layout and for the Gauge O Guild. So we will get Nigel on at some point and do a video with him. Paul comes on a regular basis, so you know we see Paul's faces almost as much as you see mine. So Paul, we did ask Paul about today, but unfortunately it was Paul's idea to bring you on, John. So you got to blame Paul.
I had a feeling that was the case.
He said John would love coming on video. I think we need to get Mr. Crawford on at some point, and Ed. I think we need to have that'd be like having the Muppets on, when the two old men from the Muppets, Waldorf and Stadler. But no, we have a bit of fun, don't we? And we have a laugh. That's the main thing.
We certainly do.
So it's been lovely to have you on, John. So thanks very much. So if you hang on after the stream, before the stream closes, but thanks very much.
Thank you. Are you going to remove me?
I'm going to remove you. Yeah, I'm going to put you in the basement.
Bye, everybody. Nice to talk to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John.
Bye-bye.
That's been great. Well, we've had a really good stream today. We've had Carol on earlier for about an hour. And then we've just had John, who's the treasurer of the Warley Club. Obviously, I've been quite busy working on, you can see I've got some platforms over there I've been working on. I've got changed cameras briefly. I've got the Magnum I've been working on, which is there. I did have it working earlier, but the cog at the bottom end jumped off the track, and then when I tried to relay put the cog back in place, I'd unhooked the chain, so I've got to work on that one and get it connected up again. So unfortunately, I was hoping to show you today, but unfortunately I can't. But hopefully next week we'll have that working and I'll show you it working. So I'm going to end the stream now. We've done an hour and a half. So thanks to everyone who's joined today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we will have a stream for you next Wednesday at 2 p.m. If it's Hornby Magazine, it'll be 1 p.m, but I'll let you know once I know more. So see you again. See you all next week.